The stock is up about 100% from the start of the year, which will be a pretty nice gain for Ms. Pelosi.
Members of Congress are at it again, making some big plays in the market.
He made a single purchase, and the report says it's for about $3 million. By far the largest investment by Congress into a stock this year.
MarketBeat's Thomas Hughes shares a list of 6 stocks members of Congress are pouring into right now, and these aren't the typical big tech names you'd expect.
The stocks that she bought, one is one that I've never heard of before.
Will these congressional plays be the tip-off you need to get into these 6 under-the-radar stocks? Let's dive in. Tom, it's so great to have you back on the channel again, talking about the topic that so many of our viewers want to hear about, and that's what Congress is buying right now. If you're a subscriber here, you know we talk about this topic a lot, but that's because there's a lot of interest in this and people want to know what these insiders are doing. If you're not a subscriber yet, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you follow us. Thomas, I know you have a list of 6 stocks that members of Congress are buying right now. Some of these are names you really wouldn't think of, so I'm excited to dive into this list. But first, let's start off with a really interesting note on what Congress is doing in the market, and that's Pelosi. Really more a story about what she isn't doing in the market right now.
Well, right. I think that Ms. Pelosi is a good example of general congressional activity in 2025. And that's just is that there isn't a whole lot of it. It's kind of at a low point compared to the last few years. Her own trades, she hasn't made any trades since January. I mean, she's one of the most prolific, largest traders in Congress. I mean, usually she's trading not every month, but pretty regularly, and nothing since January. So that's kind of a sign of the times. Plenty of uncertainty, plenty of policy changes in the air, plenty of reasons to buy and hold. But as usual, her purchases were call options. They all have a 1-year expiry. So she was expecting to see names like Nvidia, Google, and Amazon move higher by the end of the year.
Yeah, nothing surprising with those names. They had a really rough start to the year, but now they're doing better in the market. So those plays aren't so bad right now. But there is one other Pelosi play that I think is interesting.
Right, that's Tempus AI. Tempus AI is an healthcare technology company focused on artificial intelligence. They operate several platforms. What they do is assist and support physicians with testing, monitoring testing, tracking testing, analyzing the tests, helping them to produce personalized care for very hard to treat illnesses. The platform is also a repository for knowledge for drug discovery and drug development that is expected to help enhance and accelerate drug discovery. And the critical factor with that one is that it seems to be gaining traction this year. The stock is up about 100% from the start of the year, which will be a pretty nice gain for Ms. Pelosi.
Yeah, when did she buy into that one?
At the same time as the other stocks in mid-January. Same scenario, call options with a 1-year expiration.
With such a run-up in that stock, is it too late for other investors to copy that play and get in on Tempus AI right now? What's your advice for investors if they're looking at the stock just because of what members of Congress are doing with it?
The risk right now with that one is that the market for this stock has been pretty choppy over the last, since the IPO. The market's in a trading range. It looks pretty strong this year, and it is heading towards the top of that range. We could see it break to new highs, but until it does break to a new high, there is definitely risk of resistance capping gains in this one.
There's certainly a lot of potential for many more moves in this stock, and if you want to follow all of the price action on Tempus AI, you can sign up for our free text alerts by texting YouTube to 68285 if you're in the US, and you can follow the link that's right in the description of this video if you're outside of the US to sign up and set up those instant alerts for the major stock moves right to your phone on any stocks you want to add to your watch list. All right, well, that's the first company on your list of 6 stocks that Congress is really looking into right now. What's the second company on your list?
Well, right. So in the article, I'm just trying to highlight recent trades by Congress. And the most recent trades were made by April McClain Delaney. She's a Democrat from Maryland. And she made 2 purchases and made 3 sales. But the stocks that she bought, one is one that I've never heard of before. That's Markel. And the other one is Tractor Supply Company. We've talked about that stock many times before, and it's one that I like.
Let's talk about Markel. What is this company?
Markel's an insurance company. From my initial look, it looks like it's a fairly well-regarded stock, good high-quality management. It's in the process of a restructuring, more of a focusing. It's been focusing on the U.S. specialty market as one of its growth pillars, so it's restructuring that segment. They've promoted one of their insiders to a new position to help lead one of the new segments. And the ultimate takeaway is that they're further diversifying their already well-diversified revenue streams, expanding into a growth market, and the stock price looks like it should be trending higher.
Interested to see how big of a purchase this was for the Congresswoman.
Yeah, they weren't large purchases. It didn't really register as far as the size goes. It's among the smaller trade sizes for a Congress member. But there is another stock that was very heavily bought by a single Congress member, and he purchased about 3 million according to our reports.
Very interested to get to that one. I do want to hear your quick analysis of Tractor Supply first. Tell us about this stock.
Well, Tractor Supply Company is a really fantastic story. It got a new CEO just before or right as the pandemic was starting. He has a lot of experience with retail, with digital, with merchandising. He really helped reinvigorate the company, make it more appealing to store shoppers, has been accelerating its store count growth, helping its comp store growth, helping its margins. And the stock overall is a very high quality, like must own, buy and hold dividend compounding stock. It self-funds its growth. It repurchases shares significantly. The dividend isn't huge, but it's growing and reliable. So really lots of great things for this company. Not surprised to see a congressperson wanting to own it. Right. I just can't say enough good things about it, to tell you the truth.
All right, well, that's a good solid third company to look at of what members of Congress are interested in right now. Let's get to this fourth company. This is that huge purchase that you were talking about.
Right. That is in Kinsale. It's Tony Weed. He's a representative from Wisconsin. He made a single purchase, and the report says it's for about $3 million. That's by far the largest trade by a Congress member. It's the largest investment by Congress into a stock this year. So it really is a significant affirmation of the company, as far as I can tell.
Kinsale is a name we've talked on this channel before, and I think it was when we had a guest on. Let's dive into what this company is.
Yeah, so Kinsale is another insurer, also doing very well, high quality company, well regarded by the market. It's another stock that I don't cover very frequently. It didn't know very much about, but the charts look good, and all the commentary looks pretty good for this one.
I think it's interesting. This is the second insurance company that a member of Congress is interested in right now. What about this sector could be getting this kind of interest?
Well, right. Insurance has been a fairly decent sector industry this year. The last couple years, it's been growing. They produce good cash flow. They don't always pay dividends, but they typically buy back shares. There's always reasons to want to own them because of the cash flow and the compounding nature of their businesses.
Okay, so that fourth pick on this list is the largest sale by a member of Congress. This next pick is one that a lot of members of Congress are buying.
Right, that's Applied Material. We're tracking 9 purchases by 4 members. It's bipartisan support. The purchases aren't large, only about 210,000 altogether, but we've got a lot of names that we've seen numerous times on this particular segment, the congressional trading. We've got John Boozman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Mr. Shreve, Republican from Indiana. All prolific traders, all have done numerous transactions, either just prior to, during, or just after the peak of the tariff fears.
Well, let's talk about the company a little bit more. What does it do and why this one?
Well, Applied Materials is well positioned in the industrial semiconductor market. It's been seeing normalization in its end markets, which is helping it to sustain its return to growth and accelerate growth. Also being supported by AI. The last results were a little bit mixed, but they showed some solid traction being gained, and we're looking at this being the early stages of a cyclical long-term recovery compounded by AI. It's been rebounding off its recent lows. So we're seeing a stock and a market, a company in a rebound with potential for quite a significant upside over the next few years.
Let's dive into the congressional buys a little bit more and what that might tell investors. When were some of these purchases disclosed? And is there still an opportunity for investors to get in at a point where there's still growth to be had in this company?
Most of these purchases were disclosed shortly after they were made. They were made in March, April, and May. Again, bipartisan support, primarily Republicans, but also some Democrats buying. All of the buying aligns with some pretty favorable chart action. If I could pull that chart up, we can see it right here. Right, so their purchases were made right around here, March, April, and May, aligning with the stock hitting a bottom and then rebounding. This here looks like a pretty solid V bottom, confirmed by a spike in volume. And both the indicators are in alignment with this rebound. We've got support at a critical cluster of moving averages. So it looks pretty solid to me. I would really expect to see this one continue to trend higher. And over time, given the outlook for the cyclical recovery, it could easily continue to trend higher over the next 12, 18 months and regain this 240 level over time.
All right, an interesting fifth company on your list. Let's get to that final stock that members of Congress are showing a trend for right now.
Right, that's Caterpillar. It was the number 3 regarding the number and amounts of congressional buying. We've got 8 purchases by 6 members. The total amount was actually a little bit below applied material. That's why it's a spot lower. But mostly Republicans. But again, we have bipartisan support. Marjorie Taylor Greene bought it 3 times. Mr. Shreve's a buyer. Again, purchases being made March, April, and May, aligning with the market bottom. The stock is in a long-term uptrend. Of course, there is some uncertainty in the outlook, but Caterpillar is well positioned for global economic activity. Once we get some of these uncertainties and headwinds out of the way, I would expect to see Caterpillar's business begin to regain traction and accelerate and help take this stock price to new highs.
Interesting company. I'm wondering if there's any impact from tariffs involved in Caterpillar potentially, or if it's more of just a homegrown local story. Is there any kind of policy discussions that might impact this company?
Well, lots of policy discussions. Tariffs will definitely impact this company. It relies heavily on steel for its manufacturing. Its business is global. A lot of the manufacturing is localized, but not all of it is. Plenty of exposure to the supply chain, plenty of exposure to trade relations. So again, plenty of headwinds and uncertainty. But again, the stock is trending higher. We've got pretty good support from Congress, aligning with a bounce from a critical moving average, aligning with the uptrend. So provided we don't have any major deterioration in the outlook, this stock should continue to trend higher.
I think that's an interesting takeaway from that one too, is that even though there is that exposure to tariffs and potential trade issues, there are still members of Congress from both parties looking at this stock and getting into it with their own money. So that tells
Right.
you a little bit of something.
So that's a good way just to sum up this year. I mean, the fundamentals are bullish, the outlook is bullish, but lots of uncertainty. So right now we're kind of heading into the summer with a bull market that's not sure what's going to happen. So the bull market could continue to rise. We could run into a wall sometime soon. It's a wait and see market.
It also says something when the leaders of that uncertainty are still uncertain themselves too. They're showing uncertainty. The entire market and country seems to be showing uncertainty. That's the word of the year for 2025, it seems.
Indeed it is.
All right, Thomas, thank you so much for diving into some of the recent congressional activity. Let us know what you think about any of these stocks that members of Congress are getting in on and any insights you think we can gain from some of the decisions they're making with their money. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. As always, happy investing.